Welcome back to the channel, guys. So the campaign is fully pushing forwards. This turn the initiative has swung fully for the loyalists, the parliamentarians. Freudian slip. They've managed to converge, or have 3 of their armies converge to attack Rupert and Maurice. So they outnumber the royalists at least 2 to 1 in total numbers, although Cromwell's forces will be coming in as reinforcements at a random time. So we're not entirely sure when they'll come, but they've still got more. So it's definitely going to be a hard fought battle for the royalists to try and pull something out of the bag. But yeah, overall, this turn we've got the Scottish forces coming down from the north, and we've got the mass troops in the centre, in the Midlands. So we'll see how it goes. The parliamentarians are there just to destroy the enemy, drive them from the field, and the royalists, if they can, they destroy the enemy, but they want to hold the field for as long as possible. So the field itself is relatively flat on this side, with a couple of farmers' fields, a bit of woodland, and then on the other side of the stream we have hills with a bit of a farmstead on top and a few stone wall sort of animal pens. So in turn 1 the royalists took up a defensive position along the hills, doing the best they could to try and screen their troops behind some of the natural defences and put their artillery in a good commanding spot, whilst Fairfax's army came along, infantry on the road with artillery and the cavalry on the right hand side. For the first few turns it was just artillery blasting away and doing a few bits of damage, but nothing too major on either side. But it really is a juggernaut coming up. So the royalists have moved forwards their commanded shot towards the stream, and the cavalry are trying to move to the left, whilst on the parliamentarians it's just a general advance in turn 1. Turn 2 sees the cannons again having a few shots at each other. A few infantrymen for the parliamentarians got hit, and a couple of cavalry were hit by the parliamentarians firing at the royalists. But again, due to the size of the field and the deployments, not a huge amount happening turn 2, other than just general advance on the parliamentarian side. So as we move into turn 3, the commanded shot are crossing the stream on the royalist side. The cavalry have reached the remainder of the cavalry over on the royalist left. The infantry are advancing down the centre for the parliamentarians, and their cavalry are on their right advancing. The artillery on both sides just concentrating on infantry, does a few points of damage, but still nothing too major at this stage. But I was playing as the royalists, and it was quite intimidating to see this big block coming down the road and the cavalry on the other side outnumbering me. Although I was in a good strong position, Cromwell's reinforcements could arrive at any point, and yeah, it was going to be a tricky one, that's for sure. I had this nagging feeling in the back of my mind that I should be trying to withdraw, but he had a lot more cavalry than us. So as we moved into turn 4, my commander's shot swung round so they could start to engage, and I started to move my infantry, pikes and muskets up towards the stream itself, just to try and get into position for when his troops get close enough so that we can try and inflict some casualties on them. And there's Maurice in the background. On my left, I had the pikes and the cavalry sort of form up, just that we could try and oppose any crossing of his cavalry, because he does outnumber us by quite a considerable number. There's some cuirassiers in there as well, so yeah, it wouldn't be easy to take them on. So the first small arms fire of the game saw my commanded shot take down a few of his men and put a wound on Fairfax. Unfortunately, we didn't kill him. In return, his commanded shot both units fired upon me, causing a couple of casualties. So turn 5 saw the parliamentarians keep moving forwards. Yeah, just heading towards that crossing and getting into position to start doling out a bit of pain. On the parliamentarian right, their cavalry had started to fan out into a line, so they could try and envelop me if needs be. But luckily, I had enough troops there to just keep them back. Small arms fire amongst the commanded shot again. However, unfortunately for us, they did start to get some good wounds in. Also, their light artillery piece had now moved in range, so was firing off some of our pike troops. As our musket volleys opened up, we did get another wound on Fairfax, but again, it wasn't enough to kill him. His musketeers took some casualties, ours took some casualties, but nothing too detrimental to either side. But turn 6 is where things went badly. Our commanded shot routed, and his whole infantry attack force fanned out so he could get maximum firepower up against us. And this is where his numbers are really going to start to tell this turn. Because he's got 2-to-1 advantage on shooting units and 2-to-1 on pike units, so we are pretty well done for. But we're going to put up as much of a fight as possible, that's for sure. And the slugging match began. Both sides did lose quite a lot of casualties. There was some very good rolls, but unfortunately Lord Maurice took a headshot. He was killed instantly. A very bad omen for the royalist side. And then we had Cromwell's reinforcements arrive. So that gave them an extra heavy artillery piece to bombard us with, which was not good at all. Our counter-battery fire was doing, well, it wasn't counter-battery, it was our artillery piece was firing on his infantry and did the best it could. But in the centre, we lost our pikemen in melee, and we also lost our second unit of musketeers who routed after Maurice's death. So turn 7 basically saw parliamentarians just storming forwards, and it was at this stage that I knew I had to try and get the army out in some semblance of order if possible. So the troops on my left, which were still semi-formed, the cavalry and the pikes, started to make their way backwards. The one unit of dismounted dragoons in the centre started to make their way back, but it was a parliamentarian victory. But we did manage to get some of the troops out. So, what has happened this turn? As you can see, the Royalists managed to withdraw. We did take some additional casualties during the retreat to Shrewsbury, but the army has reformed there. We've taken London with King Charles, and in the north the Scottish forces have come down. They're now in York. We do have the northern Royalist force just beneath them, so they could go either way there. So question time for you is, what would you like the parliamentarians to do, and what would you like the royalists to do? This is time for you guys to put some comments down below, and then as soon as we've got those, I can then put the poll in and we can get the final decision. From my perspective, I would say probably we need to try and consolidate after the last turn where we did lose the initiative, and we've now got basically a war on two fronts. I'm thinking we need to move Charles and his army up, and probably move Rupert's army down to try and join with Charles to try and get one large and one medium-sized army to then try and move north. And we keep our northern force probably garrisoned in one of the cities up there. As for the parliamentarians, again, I think they just need to try and fight and destroy royalist forces wherever they can. If they can catch Rupert as he's making his move, that would be a very beneficial thing for them. The Scottish forces in the north, I think, carry on doing what they're doing, and that is breaking down all of the royalist territories, because that's going to stop them from getting as many campaign points each turn. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. Anyway, thanks for taking part in the campaign, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.